To me, Sisu is a Finnish word which is hard to actually translate.
There's no equivalent translation.
Well, Sisu is determination or guts is an easy way to define it.
Yeah, so Sisu is a part of who we are in the UP.
That it is persistence in spite of adversity.
I think myself, I take quite a bit of pride in that.
I think what solidified the meaning of Sisu for the Finns was in World War II, the Russians the Soviets declared war on Finland, and they planned to overrun the country in a week. And the Finns resisted. Everyone came together at that point, all the different political parties, all the different factions of society came together, and they just fought with everything they had. Certainly the Finnish immigrants and other immigrants who came to this area to develop the mining and the forestry and farming, they had to have a lot of Sisu. They had to really put their shoulders to the wheel and just keep going despite what was going on. And so this idea of Sisu still remains here in the UP.
Of course, then I remember the story of what my mother used to say about her parents, my grandparents, and they both came from Finland, and they were running a boarding house for a while, and that was really hard work. And these guys would work shifts, so there would be one shift sleeping in this bed, and then the shifts would change, and the next shift would come into the bed, and that's the way it was going. And I was wondering, how did they wash the sheets, and how often could they have been changed, compared to what things are like nowadays, 2 minors to a bed. And then you had to cook for them and all this stuff. And I think, oh my gosh, that's really hard work.
Well, the Finnish people have had to face a lot of problems, a lot of adversity in their lives. And it seems that they have just developed this the Sisu is the only way you can describe it, I guess, to get through it and just tackle the problem and do it.
Some people would like to say that Finnish people are sort of reserved, sort of distant as far as emotions go. I would like to say that we've just been rehearsing for social distancing for the last few centuries.
Finnish people, Finnish culture can be somewhat stoic, and it's not hard to understand and follow this social distancing. But on the other hand, we have we have a warmth towards family and getting together with family, and we do miss that for sure. It's not something that you need to be born with, but I do believe it needs to be in the family. So in other words, if your parents have it, you most likely will have it. I know my father worked very hard. And I know my grandparents, both my grandfathers, they worked very hard. And either farming and working on the ore boats, or working in the copper mines on my father's side. And so I think you definitely need to have that in the family as you're growing up, for sure. I tell a lot of people, some of my boys and friends, when they are leaving the area and going to look for work, either out west or even Alaska, when generally speaking, when they hear you're from the UP, you're hired. Because the people that are going out there and looking for work, they for the most part, they have that work ethic in them.
My parents, they were both hardworking people. She had been a teacher, but with the Depression, I think everybody worked kind of hard. And if they could find jobs. When I was a kid, I knew things were rough, but I still didn't really understand them, But I knew that my parents worked hard to, my dad just didn't like the idea of going on relief. I think you just learn from your parents that you're, that you worked hard for a living, and I don't know. I think I turned out pretty good.
My grandmother, when she came to the United States and went to school, she couldn't speak English. And someone said, I think her name is Ellen. And that became her name. and so even though it really wasn't her name, that's the name that she used for the rest of her life. My parents raised me to believe that I could do anything I wanted to do. And so you have to start at a young age giving them experiences that they can be successful with, and boosting their self-confidence, and helping them to develop that the ability to go back at it if they have failures, and supporting them with what changes they need to make if they are not successful the first time.
I think Sisu has taken a long time to really to take hold here in the U.S. And in particular, it's become a symbol of the people of the Upper Peninsula. I would argue that there's kind of a gray area between being Finnish and being Yooper.
The Finns have an expression, sauna, sisu ja Sibelius, the three S's. And two of those S's are so ingrained in UP culture. And they are sort of what sustain us these days in many times. And I think that there's a lot of pride now in being a Yooper. And I think that there's a lot of recognition from the outside world that Yoopers are kind of a special breed. And we rely on those things now.
Having a roof over the head, and a lot of Yoopers have freezers that have food in them. And if not, we have friends and neighbors that are willing to help.
Some of the foods that we serve here are definitely have a history here that goes back to the beginning of the mining days, such as the pasty. And then specifically for the Finnish culture, the Nisu and the tarts, the prune tarts, that's definitely something we enjoy very much, keeping them going and serving to the public.
So we have some parallels here in the UP. We have the dark, cold winters, and that has to breed some sense of strength and fortitude to get through the winters. But I don't think you have to be Finnish to have Sisu. I think that Upers, like I said, have suffered some of the same challenges that the Finnish people have.
I've always had a bicycle since I was a kid. I had a tricycle. I was able to get me my first mountain bike. That was my gift for my retirement. It was October, and I thought, well, what if I'm not able to go next year? I have to bike that trail. And of course, I didn't have anybody to go with me. And I just thought about it, and I said, well, why can't you go? Who cares if you're 90 years old? Do it. So I went there, and then I came back to my car and unloaded my bike, and then I realized, boy, this is a cold wind out here. And so instead of putting my helmet on, I did have my bike hat, my knit bike cap, and then I had a hood on my ski jacket that I was wearing. So I put that on, and I put liners under my gloves, and I went and biked, I think it was 7 or 8 miles, but I keep on going until I can't do it anymore. And then I recuperate, and okay, now I can go back and do what I was doing.
I'm sitting here in my century-old sauna. This is my place of refuge during this corona pandemic, and it's one of the places I'm still able to go to despite the stay-at-home order. So I find a lot of solace here, and it certainly is an enjoyable place to be. The sauna is something, of course, that was brought by the Finnish immigrants to this country well over 100 years ago, and has become really a staple. It's really an important part of UP culture, not just Finnish culture. And so the wonderful thing about sauna and sauna culture, beyond the relaxing and cleansing benefit of it, is the fact that here in the UP, people know how to say sauna. The Finns have an expression that if sauna, pine tar, and whiskey don't help you, then you're a goner.
They had cows, and the women milk the cows. And he was saying once about, I think it was his aunt, had come in and she had gone out to milk the cows, and she came in with a baby, and she had given birth to the baby right in the cow barn. Those were rough days.
I think Sisu is a very important concept for fighting the pandemic that we're now experiencing. Um, this fighting spirit, this attitude that you can conquer something that seems insurmountable is really something that's key to people who are ill.
Oh yeah, and you have to be positive. You have to be positive, and I don't worry about the virus. I just figure whatever will be will be.
We can all say we're courageous and whatnot when times are good, but when we have adverse conditions, that's when we have to show our strength and determination.
Do what you think you can do to help the situation, what you individually can do. Well, like now at my age, I can still help with the mask problem, and so that's something that I have tried to do.
But it's this idea of Sisu, of just going on and doing what needs to be done. And I'm happy to see that this idea of Sisu is important to Yoopers, important to people in the Upper Peninsula, because now, in particular, it's something that we rely on, that we just have to pull that strength from within us to get us through what we need to do.
Sisu is a really interesting word in Finnish language, and it's considered a word that can't really be translated, but it exemplifies determination even in the face of odds that are not likely for you to succeed.
There's no equivalent translation, but the best that we could say is it's courage in the face of adversity. It's determination. When you're down, you get back up again.
When you have a problem, instead of putting it off to somebody else or saying I can't do it, you just tackle it.
Yeah, so Sisu is a part of who we are in the UP, and we're used to overcoming the obstacles that are thrown at us. And all we can do is maintain a positive attitude and take a day at a time and be thankful for all the good that we have.
To mainly think positive, and you can just tell yourself that you can do this. Whatever. Persist. Just make up your mind you're going to do it and do it.
Sisu means that you are going to do everything possible to get it done, whatever is before you.
Sisu is that determination that you just have the will to go on, and that you have that will despite all odds. Do I have the ability to do this? Do I have the strength to do this? And then come to the conclusion, yeah, I can. We all can.